History and data shows us that the key to creating generational wealth is to create a generation. That means starting your family at home. It starts at home. But what is happening now with the acrimony between particularly black men and black women in this country when it comes to divorce rates and wage equality could be a key indicator of why it is that we are unable to create generational wealth within our own communities. We're going to talk about this right here, right now on the Ujamaa Network. I'm Antoine Anderson. Let's get into it. I was once told by a wise woman, my mother, that there was too much time that I spent on things that I could not control versus the time and effort that I put into the things that I could control. One of the things that drew me to this topic tonight is the acrimony that exists right now between African American men and women when it comes to our wages, our dating, everything. And it hinges on some facts that you can easily verify yourself. This is not going to be an opinion-based thing. But I pride myself on this channel on providing you with factual information. We're going to gather this information from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics as well as the Census Bureau, and they're going to check out. And I'm going to show you across all racial ethnicities that there is one common thread that keeps putting us back behind the eight ball when it comes to creating that generational wealth. And here they are. The Department of Labor has an interactive map that I'm showing you right now, and I'm going to also plug in that webpage for you so you can see it. This shows you across all ethnicities what the information is going to tell you over years of time. Now, the latest information that they have on the interactive chart measures up until 2022. I have actually been keeping numbers on this since last year. I did a similar podcast or recording on this very topic and how the wage gaps among ethnicities are very, very different. And what the conclusion I drew is that as we get closer and closer to parity among the genders, across all races, you're starting to see increases in divorce rates, and that is kind of automatic, you would think. And if you follow what I'm saying, is that in past times, or people, or ethnicities with higher gaps in their income disparities between women and men, they tend to stay married longer. They get married and they stay married. Part of that could be because of the security that higher wage does. We're going to go through some of those numbers. I know right now, according to my research, and you can check it out for yourself, the largest pay gap between genders is in the Asian American community. It is somewhere in the neighborhood of $16,000 per year that men make more than their counterparts in the women in their community. But they also have the lowest divorce rates. Now, a lot of factors are going to factor into that. Cultural differences, just how they treat each other, how they talk to each other. It's one of the things that sets that community apart from any other community in this country. Now, I will add that a lot of the information that I'm getting and where I'm getting it from almost always leaves out our Native American brothers and sisters who have experienced extremely high divorce rates. They also have extremely high suicide rates, extremely high unemployment, and wage parities are similar to that of African Americans. It is just bad on those reservations. Do not get it twisted. But second on the list, and the second least likely racial group to be divorced, are Caucasian American people who have about a $10,000 gap in pay between men and women, followed by our Hispanic or Latino community. Theirs is a little bit over double what it is in the African American community, and that is kind of systemic because they are also, depending on whether or not they were born in this country or coming across, there is a little bit of discrepancy there when it comes to the divorce rates. But the divorce rates, again, are right in line with the numbers that we're talking about. It is the African American community and what this channel is all about that has the biggest problem in both these areas. And when I say problem, this is not to belittle the advances that Black women have had to make over over decades now, since they were given the ability to even open a bank account. And we're going to get into that as well, because that is key to where a lot of the problems and the strife comes from. And I'm going to get into that so bad, and we're going to talk about it deeply and in detail. But the numbers as they lie right now, it has never been more equal between the pay disparities between Black men and Black women than it is now. We're starting about 1965. The gap was around $11,000. Men made more money. As of 2022, the pay gap, the discrepancy or the difference in pay between Black men and Black women is less than $3,000. It's like $2,100 right now. So when you have a woman making or being able to earn the same amount, if not more income than her male counterpart, what do you think that does to the family dynamics? Well, it's pretty clear across all ethnicities that there's going to be a little bit of jostling for position. And that's going against what a lot of us were raised as, that men were going to be the head of the household for various reasons. It is only taking a twist in our generation, and it's largely, in fact, due to one law that we're about to talk about right now. Now, when I say our generation, I'm talking about my generation, the Gen X. Gen X, we saw some stuff. People born in those late 60s to early 70s era, we saw our parents go through some things. And one of the things that I saw personally, firsthand, was my mother having to come from her job and not go to a bank to cash her check, but to this convenience store. And every woman at that establishment, at that job location, did the same thing. Thursday, when they got their checks, went straight to cash that check. Now, the check cashing store, for lack of a better word, charged a ridiculously high check cashing fee, something that you wouldn't see at a bank. But it was because of the fact that up until the late 60s and not written into law until October 28th, 1974, that women even had the right to open a bank account without the signature of their husbands. Yeah, you heard that right. And a lot of you people kind of forget that fact, that women just in the last 50 years got the right to open a bank account. But it was also during that time when they got that freedom, those divorce rates started to skyrocket. And why do you think that is? Well, because they've got that cash and they've got that independence. I don't need you. We entered into the I can do bad by myself era. And that's exactly what we did. For 20 years, there was not a drop or a decline in the divorce rate as women began to achieve more and more financial stability for themselves. And it continues on into our generation today, where women are making more advances, especially in the Black community, advances in education, gaining higher paying jobs, and so forth. But we're trying to marry those advances and still ask men to pay for everything that they want. You want to have the modern day freedom, but you still want to be treated like a 1965 woman who has her man take care of everything. But keep in mind, these were married men that were taking care of their wives. This right never was extended or meant to be extended to your girlfriends. As a man myself, I take care of everything in my house. Everything. That doesn't extend into yours. So if you ain't living at this address, why should I be paying everything for you? Again, red pill kind of conversation, but maybe you might want to think about that coming from a Gen Xer, somebody who knows better. Now, where does the correlation come from, Twan? Well, let's just take a look at the numbers. We got the highest divorce rate and the lowest marriage rate. That's a given in the African American community. But we also have the lowest gap in wages amongst all ethnicities. Second are the Hispanic Americans or Latino Americans. Again, they have the third highest divorce rate and the third lowest gap between men and women. This is then followed by our brethren in the Caucasian community. They have a $10,000 gap in wages, but they have the second lowest divorce rate, much higher marriage rates. They're getting married. We're not doing that in the African American community. And finally, the Asian American community, they have the lowest divorce rate and the largest gap in pay between men and women. That's the correlation. You can disagree with it. Like I say, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. You can take that with a grain of salt and leave your comments below to argue. I'm only going to take some of that argument so far, and then I'm just going to shut it down. But please support the channel, support the discussion. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you find any errors in my conclusions. I'd love to hear from you. Talk to you later.